often get asked on the show, Neil, why do you only do stories about Harry and Meghan? And I often reply that there are many choices on the channel. It's that fewer people seemingly want to watch the other stories. So today I thought I'd share with you a story that may truly appeal, particularly if, like me, you love a good nosy round houses, and of course you want to look into things and think, oh, you know, if you remember a couple of weeks back, we showed you a house just off Park Lane, which used to belong to the Hollywood actor Douglas Fairbanks Jr. And a few scandals went on in that house, as we pointed out. And of course now you can rent it for £500,000 a year. That's right. Now the house at the side of me here, which you can also just see, is well, something of fame by association really, because this was the London home of the actress and singer Lily Ellis. Now Lily starred in the 1907 production, the original theatre production of The Merry Widow, and living here of course meant that she was in the superstar status bracket league, if you get my drift. But back as ever to this particular story that, as I say, really caught my eye, because living in London, people say to you, how much does it cost, Neil, living there? Is it expensive? Yes. When people were saying, could you put somebody up in your flat? No, not the size it is. But this particular venue here, this particular door that you're now looking at, actually is the front door to London's smallest house. You heard correctly, London's smallest house. It's just round the corner from Marble Arch, and basically it's got a really intriguing story behind it. It's attached to the convent, the Tyburn Convent. Wonderful place, you should pop in and visit if you come to London, always worth a visit. But as I say, what's interesting is you can see the largest houses in London, but then you discover the smallest, and here's why. This house is nestled between two normal sized houses, just a short walk, as I say, from Lancaster Gate Underground Station, or round the corner from Marble Arch. The property is at 10 Hyde Park Gate, and as I said, it's now part of the Tyburn Convent, a monastery in West London. But the convent's website describes it as the Benedictine Adorers. But what really this building was, and this is where it becomes really intriguing, is it only measures 100 centimetres, yes that's right, 100 centimetres across, and it's made up of only 2 rooms. Palatial when you look at mine. Now it dates back to around about 1805, and according to folklore, the rooms were only connected by a ladder. Can you imagine that if you had to pay a visit during the evening? Now it's been rebuilt since the 19th century days, and obviously now has this distinctive red brick, the same brickwork as the neighbour. But the property for a while became known as the Dwarf's Dream House, because there's a legend attached to this that basically said a dwarf ran out every night on the stroke of midnight and just basically went to play in Broad Walk. Perhaps there's a more likely explanation. Truly could it be, would be what we would kind of call today like influencers, Instagram, spying on people, you know what it's like, you flick round things and think, oh, is that what they're doing now? Well, this was actually built as a watchtower, and the reason why is because behind that building is a graveyard, St. George's Graveyard. Now if you remember those illustrious tales about Burke and Hare, the body snatchers, apparently it got that bad that they decided to turn this into a watchtower. So a few bricks were removed, and then, you know, this guy, whoever was sitting in there overnight, could see anybody trying to creep in to the graveyard and, yes, sadly dig up the freshly dug graves to sell to the medical world, doctors, that sort of stuff. It was big business. And if you think about it, it just proves that nothing is new. Everything comes around in another circle. It's just another form. Now, sadly, the last time this particular property was for sale was way back in 1936. Quite a reasonable rate, but I'm told if you wanted to buy this now, it could be in the millions. That's right, in the millions. But it's well worth coming to have a look, as I say, because these little intriguing places that you find in London, you think, wow, I didn't realise that was there. Or, you know, simply it's a nice little bit of history, isn't it? As ever, I would love to know what you think to London's smallest and no doubt slimmest house in the comments below. Neil Sean, Hyde Park, London.